Hello Whovians and welcome back to the Kingdom of the Geeks. This is Salem, that's Simba, I'm Kitty, and we're going to talk about the second episode of Season 8 of Doctor Who, Into the Dalek. Here we go. So, Into the Dalek had a lot of references to the Third Doctor era. I think with the way that Capaldi's outfit looked, and there were shots of him flying down the tube and with the code open and everything, he totally looked like the Third Doctor. I think there's going to be a lot of references back to the Third Doctor's era, especially with how heavily the military is involved in this season, or at least it seems like it's going to be. We begin by meeting Journey Blue, and right away I think there has to be a connection between Journey Blue and Danny Pink. Not just because their last names are colors, but also because I think the Doctor is on this epic quest right now to fix old problems and save as many people as he possibly can. He seems to want to fix past mistakes. He seems like he's trying to be a little bit more patient with people, even though that's really difficult for him to do. You can tell that it's just not in the characteristic of this particular Doctor. So in this episode, we get to meet a good Dalek. Is there such a thing as a good Dalek? Yeah, I don't think so. We've seen a good Dalek before in Journey's End and Stolen Earth, episodes 13 and 14 of season 4. If you remember, Dalek Khan went a little crazy after flying back into the Time War, and he came back as more sentient and knowing about all these future events that are going to occur. He actually was not on the side of the Daleks, he was on the side of the Doctor, taking Donna and placing her in specific points in time along the timeline to make sure that she arrives there just in time to make the Time Lord human meta crisis occur and basically save the events of the day. So this isn't the first time that we see a good Dalek on the show actually, but the circumstances were quite different. Now before I go into the Dalek thing, I really want to say that I am loving the introduction of Danny Pink so far. I think he's so cute and dorky and nerdy, that's adorable. I think he would be the perfect guy for Claire. Thank God we finally have a guy that Claire can go out with who's not the Doctor. So I'm very much liking this Danny Pink character so far. He seems very kind and nerdy, he likes to read, he seems like a total dork, so I think he's the perfect guy for Clara. When in doubt, go for a nerd. Always go for a nerd. Loved the part where they get miniaturized and inserted into the Dalek's eye stalk. I guess we're having a really big theme with miniaturization and little things fitting into big things. I mean, that has been a theme for a while, but if you think about it, we have the Tesselecta, and ever since then we've had all these recurring themes of people that get miniaturized and inserted into either machinery or people or something else. So I think that's going to play probably a big role towards the end of the series. Everything in the future, according to Doctor Who, seems to be getting smaller and smaller, which is the truth, because think about our technology these days, how cell phones and TVs and everything, they're just getting smaller and smaller. So it's not unheard of and it's not completely illogical to think that in the future we're going to have nanotechnology and miniaturization technology where we basically get a tiny microchip or a person, make them tiny, insert them into a living thing and have that person fix it from the inside, or have it be done with like nanobots like it was done in other Doctor Who episodes in the past, like in The Empty Child. We also have antibodies, which were just like the antibodies in the Tesselecta, or at least very similar. So guys named Ross really don't do well on the show. If you are a guy named Ross on Doctor Who, I think it's pretty clear that you're gonna be One of the best sequences in this episode, I think, was the moment when they exit the capsule and travel through the eye stalk of the Dalek, and there's this great long drawn out sequence of almost complete silence and them just traveling through this really weird warped liquid. It was a lot like the scenes that they used to have back in the day during the first, second, and third Doctor era, where they would have these really creepy long sequences of no sound and just concentrating on some really strange spinning or warping object surrounding the Doctor or his companions. The funniest part in this episode was when they flew down that long tube and splashed into what was essentially dissolved people, and they asked if Ross was down there, and Doctor's like, oh yeah, he's in the top layer if you want to say a few words, and Journey just completely went off on him and nearly kicked his ass. Doctor's been kind of an ass lately, and I think I like it. In this episode, I actually really enjoyed Clara because for once it seemed like the Doctor wasn't telling her what to do. He was just kind of like, you know what, go ahead and be clever. I don't care what you need to do. Go up there and do something clever and get it done. So as soon as Ross died, I knew that they were going to come back to the whole Missy thing. I have a huge theory on who Missy is and what she's doing, but I'm going to talk about that towards the end of this. I know that they will come back to Gretchen, Alice, and Carlisle because not only do we actually see her teleported into the Promised Land and sit and have tea with Missy, but also I think it was very poignant and important that she told the Doctor, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice myself for you, but you better do something good in my name. Rusty was the most hilarious Dalek that I've ever seen so far. I generally don't think Daleks are scary in the least. I don't find them scary. They're just adorable and cute. I mean, how is this supposed to be scary? This is adorable. I just want to like cuddle him and call him my squishy. One of the funniest parts was when the Dalek was spinning and trying to figure out what the truth was. Truth? What is truth? That was so funny to me. I probably laughed for 15 minutes. I don't know why, but that was the funniest part of the episode to me. Basically, we're getting to the point where Clara is now teaching the Doctor something. I think at this point she's gotten enough experience and traveled with him so much that she retains enough of the adventures to know right from wrong, and she can detect when the Doctor has given up and when she needs to really give him a slap in the face and tell him, hey, that is not how we do things. We do not give up, and that is not the right conclusion. Personally, I think the whole idea of a Dalek seeing a star being born and going back on his Dalek ways is absolutely hilarious, but also a really good idea. So now we have this Dalek out there who is technically a good one and retains all the memories of his past wrongdoings as well as these new memories. I did love all the bantering between Clara and Journey Blue. That was really great. Any scene with a Dalek in it just makes me laugh hysterically. I don't know why. I think they're just the funniest and the best creatures in the Doctor Who universe. Not in a frightening way, just kind of in a very, very amusing way. Everything they say just kind of makes me go, oh. The mind meld between the Doctor and the Dalek was a really cool scene, but as soon as they started going into that, I knew that exactly where they were going with this. I knew that the Dalek would see hatred in the Doctor's mind because the Doctor, over his 2,000 years now, pretty much has hated the Daleks over his entire life existence. So it was bound to come up in his brain. I really love that the entire time the Doctor is saying that how unlike he is from the Daleks. At the moment he landed on Skaro and found out who they were, he realized that he was not the Daleks and he was going to do everything in his power to destroy them or fight against them. And I like that towards the end the Dalek examines the Doctor and tells the Doctor that he is a good Dalek. That he himself, Rusty, is not a good Dalek, but the Doctor is, due to his intense hatred. And I thought that that was really funny because clearly the Doctor is a good man. He questions that and he asks Clara that in the beginning of the episode if he is a good man, and of course he is. And I don't think, like Clara said, I don't think that he is a good man because he is just a good man. I think he's a good man because he tries to be. He tries as hard as he can to save lives even though he's incapable sometimes. So I thought it was really interesting that we don't get to see Journey Blue's brother after she claims that he's died. We do see at the beginning of the episode that she's screaming and she's hysterical and very upset because her brother has passed away. But we don't really see his body afterwards, which makes me think maybe it's a situation just like in the episode Hyde where Danny Pink will marry Clara and produce offspring who will eventually turn into Journey Blue and her brother in the future. I don't know. All I know is that somehow they're connected because there's just no way that they named them Journey Blue and Danny Pink and didn't think about a possible connection. I'm on to you, Moffat. I really liked that Danny had caught Clara stepping out of the closet and changed clothes. I think that was really funny and I hope that there's more of that in the future. I really hope that he sees her like enter a classroom wearing one outfit and come back like 30 seconds later wearing another, or carrying something really strange like an artifact that she has brought back from one of her adventures with the Doctor. I don't know. All I know is that I thought that ending was really hilarious. And now we've come to the part where I talk about my theory of who Missy is. Now, I have said before that I am convinced that Missy is the female version of the Master. Now I'm going to tell you what my theory is on what Missy's plan is and what I think she's up to. I think that Missy is collecting people, and not just people. I think she's collecting people that gave up their lives for the Doctor, or people that the Doctor failed saving. If you notice, there are quite a lot of people that are like collateral damage at the end of every episode. Every episode somebody dies and gives up their life in sacrifice for the Doctor and his companion. Something about that lady with her tea and her little cameo necklace and her sparkly blue eyes, it just screams evil, and I'm sure that it's the Master constructing some evil plan to defeat the Doctor. Why she would be collecting people that have sacrificed themselves for the Doctor, I don't quite know. Two theories on why she's doing this. Either she's going to turn them into a Cyberman army, because I know we're going to see some Cybermen in future episodes of the season, or she's collecting them as kind of a homing signal to bring Doctor back to the Promised Land, which I also think is Gallifrey. And this is going to be the Master's way of sending a signal to the Doctor and maybe bringing him back to Gallifrey. But either way, it seems like it's going to be some big evil trap for the Doctor. I don't know if my theory is correct, but we'll see. I'm not going to be too mad if I'm wrong, but I will definitely be surprised if Missy is not the Master, because I am convinced that Missy is the Master. I mean, she just has to be. So we've come to the conclusion of this particular episode review, and I will see you next time when I review the third episode of the season, Robot of Sherwood. I'll see you next time. Want to say goodbye from me, Dalek? So, Into the Dalek had a lot of... Seriously? Seriously, Salem?